Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. And today we bring to you another business expert. And I'm intrigued about this one because it's about something I've never really talked about, which is online retail. And with me today is Ryan Maltbie, and he's going to be talking about how he's succeeding in 2020 and beyond. Hey, it's Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. Thanks again for joining me. And Ryan, am I saying it right? Maltbie?
It's Maltbie, yes, but
Maltbie? Okay.
don't get it bad. It's mispronounced quite a few times.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So
No worries at all.
Yeah. So Ryan, I don't know how we originally connected. I believe it's LinkedIn because we're first degree connections. And I saw your story about barbecuegrills.com, read the story, got intrigued, reached out to you. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insights.
Yeah, no worries at all, man. It's always a nice little inclusion to the story whenever I get a chance to sit down and talk to people about the business and just marketing and just growth in general when it comes to the business.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I'll tell you right now is not my wheelhouse is online retail. And that's why I was excited to bring you on. I work mainly with like bookkeepers, home services, chiros, doctors, and things like that. And I know that online retail is just its own special beast that's got its own rules and its own challenges. Tell me, how did you get involved in the online retail space?
Oh man. Okay, so that's a really good question. So I'll kind of take you back to the beginning. Um my father, basically, I kind of where the whole story originates, obviously, right? He's my dad.
Yeah.
Uh, basically, what ended up happening was since I was like 2 years old to about the time that I was about a junior in high school, my dad owned and operated probably one of the most prestigious pool and landscape development companies in the East Bay of the Bay Area. I mean, when you talk about high end, high scale outdoor living, I mean, this guy just does it all. It's just some of the stuff he comes up with just blows my mind. And
Awesome.
so back in about 2006, I was a sophomore in high school. As we all know, in 2006, the United States economy took a pretty decent hit. The housing market took a pretty decent crash. And I don't know about you, but when there's an economic downturn, my house doesn't really have much value. The last thing that I'm looking to do is put money into my backyard.
Mhm.
And so he kind of got creative, and I went to his house one weekend, just visiting him for a weekend in my sophomore year of high school. And I sat down with him, and I'm just like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna kind of just take some time off? You're gonna chill? You're gonna wait for this thing to go back up? And he's like, I think I'm going to start an e-commerce business. And I'm like, what is e-commerce? Like, I mean, this is back in 2000, like I said, 2007, 2008-ish. And he's like, well, you buy stuff online, and I'm just like, what do you know about buying stuff online? Like, you barely even know how to put a USB drive into a computer. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And so he was like, no, I got this idea. He's like, I think we can do it. I've developed great relationships with a lot of the manufacturers that I currently supply product for my, backyard projects and pool equipment. And, we were doing barbecue islands. He was doing barbecue islands at the time as well. And so, he went to work. And a year later, in my junior year of high school, I went back to him and he showed me this website. And he's like, this is basically what we're doing. I'm selling product online. And within the first month of that business going live, he did about $100,000 in sales. The first year, he did $1 million. And that was back when there was really nobody in the e-commerce industry at all. And so after high school, I decided not to go to college. I decided to go work with my dad on this crazy, ridiculous project that he had created. And I'm proud to say that over the next 10 years of that existence of that company, we did $85 million in overall sales. Created some absolutely incredible relationships with some of the best brands in the industry. And it was really a stepping stone for what is bbqgrills.com. So to kind of give you some background, I mean, that's basically how I kind of got to where I am now. And so basically what ended up happening after that was in August of 2018, unfortunately, due to unforeseen occurrences, the company basically dissolved and kind of went its own separate way. And there was this opportunity for me to kind of take it over and kind of produce my little millennial mindset of marketing and trying to push the company forward. But at the end of the day, it really wasn't where I wanted the company to be. And it wasn't really what I thought of an e-commerce business. I had more ideas. I had differences in opinions. And so when I was about 25, 26, back in 2016, I purchased two domain names, bbqgrill.com and bbqgrills.com. At the time, my wife was not too happy about those purchases. But I
they were
told her
probably expensive.
they were not cheap. Yes,
Okay.
for sure. But I basically just viewed it as like this thing where I developed such a great relationship with the company and the industry in itself. And I've, worked hand in hand with some of the most prestigious manufacturers in the outdoor grilling industry. And I knew that, having that foresight that there was going to be value there, right? Like I knew for a fact that within 5 to 10 years, I was going to utilize those. And, that's what I did. And so I bought them, kept them in my back pocket. After the company that I had worked for dissolved, I took about a year and a half off, took a little sabbatical, a much needed one with the family. And, I basically went, I started thinking around of what I wanted to do. And that's how we created bbqgrills.com and got in touch with some incredible people to help build the company. And here we are.
It's awesome. So from what I understand, you were very fortunate that you had a father that was a visionary, got in early on the e-commerce world. You were smart enough to get involved with him and learn that.
Mm-hmm.
You've developed great relationships with suppliers over the years. And you kind of had this vision of bbqgrills.com was going to be based on your experience. You knew that you could grow that brand because of your relationships and your experience. Do I have that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now let's say, I'm not in the e-commerce world at all. And I personally don't want to sell barbecues because I don't know anything about it. And I'm 57 years old. And I'm not about at the age of 57 to go out and learn about barbecues.
For sure.
But let's say I want to start an e-commerce business, whether it's selling iPhones or pens or whatever, camera equipment, whatever the passion is that I have. Where do I begin to start to learn how to do this right so that I don't make some of the bigger mistakes that can be made?
That's a great question, actually. So I will say that whatever your passion is, it needs to be online, and that's just the first and foremost aspect of where we're going right now within our industry. Not just my industry, but every industry across the board. If you have a passion to do something, if you have a passion or a desire to fulfill a need for people's lives, whether that's motivational, whether that's selling self-help books, whether that's selling pencils, whether that's selling whatever, it needs to be online, period. So, for me, I have spent a lot of time in the e-commerce industry. I mean, the last, 10 to 13 years, I've been fully enloped in the outdoor, in the e-commerce side of things within the industry. So I will say that over the last 10 years, I have seen a industry that has grown absolutely ridiculously. And unfortunately, with that growth comes a lot of fluff, right? So, where there was a time where websites were built custom, now there is everybody and their brother offering a e-commerce platform to sell upon, whether that's Shopify, WooCommerce, anything really, Magento. I mean, there's many programs out there. Within that, there's a lot of companies out there that do marketing. There's a lot of companies that do, CRMs and newsletters and a lot of things. So, to answer your question, you really just have to understand, you have to have a keen observation of what it is that you're getting yourself involved in. You got to know your costs associated with each. You know, I'm not going to say names, but I have sat down at tables where, you know, some companies would charge $75,000 to build a website. And I've sat down at tables where some would cost $5,000 to build a website, and they both acquire the same exact thing. So it's really just about what it is that you're trying to get involved in and where your focus needs to be. And that's basically where I'll, you know, kind of answer that question.
Okay, good. So now you built the website, you obviously have your suppliers. What is the main way for you that you are driving traffic to that website?
Organically through SEO.
Just lots of content creation, articles, stories.
Mm.
That's great.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, when we started the business, we knew that bbqgrills.com was going to produce a lot of organic traffic, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's going to be a lot of direct traffic to that domain name because it's your bbqgrills.com, right? It's like cars.com,
You type
right?
in barbecue grills.
Right. I mean, it's like if you're shopping for a car, you're going to go to cars.com. If you're,
Right.
you know, it's just kind of one of those direct keywords. And that's what drew me to that domain name from the beginning and from the get-go. So, you know, where we've really taken off and where we found a lot of success in is by producing organic traffic that is appealing to our customer base. So I would basically say that, you know, trying to harness that SEO content, you know, developing pages and developing certain keywords and phrases that customers are looking for, you know, whereas 5 years ago, customers would search, you know, gas grills. Well, now they're really becoming more accustomed with building outdoor kitchens. And so what goes in an outdoor kitchen? Well, a built-in gas grill goes in an outdoor kitchen. So revamping that content, revamping those keywords to be more specific to what people are searching is always going to give you the best amount of growth.
Okay. So you're very involved in not only understanding the audience, but really having probably professional writers and graphic artists and guys create that content so that it's a great consumer experience as well as being SEO friendly.
So I actually write all the content myself.
You do, really?
Yes. So I don't it's hard to offload that to another individual. I've yet to meet a single individual that you can train a lot of people, right? I mean, you really can train people to understand what a product is, what it does, but the level of understanding where that organic content needs to be coming from, the keywords that are supposed to be used. I mean, I could look at a single grill and know exactly what it is. I mean, I do it. It drives my wife crazy. We'll go all the time. We'll go to a resort. We'll go to a resort or a hotel, or we'll go do something, and I'll just look off to the. And I'm like, oh, that's a Fire Magic Legacy 32-inch 4-burner gas grill, and she's just like, that's like 100 yards away. How do you know? And I'm like, oh, because the hood and the knobs and the way the handle looks like that. I mean, you spend 13 years in an industry, you become pretty involved in every aspect of everything. So, you know, it's for content, we are looking at bringing out outside sources, but unfortunately, every outside source that I've brought in, it's just not to the standard that we're looking for. And so, for the most part, all in-house content and write-ups have been done actually by myself.
Wow, that's incredible. So you've taken the time, so you now know that this is what's driving the growth because you're the one that's creating the content.
Correct.
Great. So in the future, where do you see the content opportunities that maybe you haven't leveraged fully? And, you know, take us 2 or 3 years from now where you're taking your brand to another level.
Okay, that's a great question. So there's a few aspects and a few channels, I'll call them channels, that we are slowly looking into developing. So you probably don't know this, but myself and my family, we are actually content creators on YouTube and Facebook. So for the last 5 years, we have developed a kind of a family vlogging channel that has developed about 500,000 followers and over 100 million views. So honing in on that marketing aspect, I have a pretty keen observation and understanding on how to do that as well. I've looked at other distributors, other, you know, retailers, competition, if you will, and what they're kind of honing in on. And a lot of them are missing the boat. A lot of them are incredibly too professional. And I don't think customers are really looking for that. They want a fun, laid back style. And so we are looking into growing the YouTube / Facebook side of things to incorporate just a lot more lifestyle content. Showing customers the difference between each grill, showing them how you actually use the grill in a backyard setting, not some warehouse with a studio session and it's all this mumbo jumbo of just nothing. Creating vlogs where actually we go tour manufacturing facilities and actually show you how they make these products. I mean, it's just, I think that when customers understand that, they develop a real respect for the product that they're purchasing. And it's just awesome. I mean, you look at companies like Tesla, for instance, they do manufacturing videos and warehouse walkthroughs all the time. And so it's just, you garner a better perspective of what am I buying and who am I actually helping within this product purchase.
Yeah, I think that's a great insight that you're doing with the content. I always love brands that really gravitate towards telling the stories and making things that have much more of an organic feel, particularly with your product, which is about friends and family over at a barbecue.
Right.
So it's
Right. I mean,
it's very chillax. So the content
right.
should be chillax.
Right. I mean, how do I want to explain this? We're selling a feeling, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm not selling you a product. I tell customers this all the time. I'm not selling you a grill. I'm selling you memories. I'm selling you something that is literally going to be lasting in your backyard for the next 15 to 20 years, that you are going to be creating some of the most lasting memories of your entire life around friends and family. I'm selling you a feeling. I'm not selling you a product. And I think that's what a lot of people don't often recognize is they look at, you know, P&Ls, they look at, well, what's the profit margin on this product? They look at, well, what's the branding? What can we sell quick? What's selling now? And they don't often think, what are we selling? And I feel like with what we've created over the last couple, the last year, is that we really want to sell an all around feeling. I don't want to sell you just a product. I want to sell you lasting memories.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, being a content marketing guy, I think you really nailed it. And I think, just to add to what you're doing, I think you could really take other industries and really sell that. I see that as you being kind of the Gary Vaynerchuk, if you will, of your industry and saying, hey, home industry guys, home selling guys, product guys, there's a better way to sell products because
Right.
I think a lot of people do. They get into that P&L and they get into the details of the money and they forget that there's another human being at the other end
Right.
that's paying that money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I completely 100% agree. I mean, I think that there's it's funny to me because, for the longest time since, sales have basically originated, brick and mortar has been a huge wheelhouse in creating that industry. Retail has been a massive, um, option of selling product. That's basically how a majority of product is sold, through brick and mortar and retail. So, when you take these ideas of, when you go into a retail location, no matter what it is, there's a reason why candles are right in the front of a Target aisle right as soon as you walk through the door. Candles are the highest profit margin in that entire building. That's why they're there, right? So for us, that's the issue, is that you take a retail company and you take a retail mindset and a brick and mortar mindset and you throw them into the e-commerce world. Those selling tactics are not going to work the same exact way because you have completely switched your industry and your demographic. You're no longer selling walk-in customers. You're selling a focus. You're selling a mindset, and you need to understand, if you're getting into the e-commerce industry, where that end goal is. That's why when you go to our website, the first thing that you see on our homepage banner is a fully functioning, nailed to the wall outdoor kitchen. Only about 15 to 20% of the customers that are coming to our website are purchasing fully functioning outdoor kitchens. The other 50 to 60 are buying the components necessary for that project. But the reality is that for customers that are coming through that are thinking to themselves, oh, I want to get a freestanding gas grill. They see that image and they're like, oh, wow, that's really, really cool. I never really thought about it that way. I could actually build one of those in my backyard. All right, I'm just going to go down that road. So it's more lifestyle than anything.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So in the future, do you see yourself any product extensions from that, or any brand extensions beyond the barbecue grills?
Yes. Yeah. So we're currently working on a few private label products. If that's, I think that's your question.
Yeah.
We are currently in development and discussion with coming out with our own gas grill, which I'm pretty excited about. We have been in discussion with several other brands. We currently have our own line of outdoor kitchen storage, and we have some pretty exclusive, exciting things that I'm really gearing up for the. I don't know if they're going to come out this year because we're still in the prototype, production phase, and everything we do, we have to make sure that it's done correctly the first time. Yeah, I mean, everything that we're doing and bringing to the website, we are hoping that we could produce it and manufacture it in the United States. We're not overseeing product. We're not, creating distribution and manufacturing overseas. We're keeping everything 100% made in America. And I'm excited to see what happens in the near future.
That's really awesome. I'm glad to hear that everything's being done and made in America.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So, I just have to say this. I just see a cooking show somewhere in the future.
For sure.
Grill Masters in the backyard, or Backyard Grill Masters. And it's on a YouTube series, and it's got Guy Fieri and all these, famous chefs or celebrities making their favorite backyard, concoction.
It's funny that you actually say that. There's a TV show, and it's on the Food Network, and I think it's like Pitmaster Cook-Off, or something of that nature. We are looking to get in discussion with them and sponsoring their show. We are also we have visions of moving into the HGTV realm, and furthermore, we're currently looking at doing some fun stuff with HGTV. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, I think if you gravitate towards that entertainment angle, that brand entertainment, I mean, my God, then it just starts going nuts.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
I had one of my people that I interviewed a couple of days ago is Rourke Gorley. He's an artist out of Laguna Beach. Mm-hmm. And he made this customized, it's hard to describe, it's called a splat ball. You'd have to go look at his.
Okay.
So anyways, he's sold his artwork to the Cosmo. He did the big shoe in the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Vegas.
Okay.
The big red shoe.
Uh-huh.
Worked with Steve Wynn on some projects, sold some artwork to other major hotels. Anyways, this one splat ball piece of artwork made it into a Cardi B video.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's just off to the side, and she's singing, and it kind of pans in on the artwork, but not obviously. It's more on Cardi B than the artwork.
Right.
You definitely see the artwork. Just that 10-second shot of his artwork in the Cardi B video, people were like, "What is that piece of art?" Exploded his
right
by just placing it in branded entertainment.
Right, for sure.
So
I mean, it doesn't take much. I mean, we literally live in a viral world, and anything has the potential to take off with minimal effort. I mean, I tell people that all the time. I'll have friends or colleagues, or even people that follow me on Instagram that message me, and they're like, "Well, what do I do? How do I get in the e-commerce industry?" And I'm like, dude, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's the easiest thing to do. I mean, you literally live in a day and age right now where everything is digital and everything can be found within seconds. So if you could find a way to take advantage of that search traffic, you'll be solid.
Yeah, well, I think you really looked at your marketplace. You found the right title. You invested in it. I think a lot of people are afraid of that. They find that key URL, and it's $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is, and they're like, it's such the right one, but do I really spend the money? And I've seen some people do that, get the right keyword URL that really embraced what they did, and they did well with it, because they had the vision and they invested in the brand.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, domain authority carries a huge weight when it comes to organic traffic or just building a brand in general, right? I mean, and so, but, you got to stop and think to yourself sometimes. You take a look at, some of the top 5 e-commerce websites in the world, right? You got Amazon, who I mean, 15 years ago, nobody even knew what the hell an Amazon was. They were like, what's an Amazon? Well, how do you even spell Amazon? Then you got Alibaba, or whatever the name of their company is. I mean, $1 trillion companies, right? Then you got, Target. Target's a great name, but it pertains to nothing that they sell. Right? They don't sell Targets. They literally are just a massive brick and mortar location, now an e-commerce business. It's Walmart. I mean, so it's like, I tell people all the time, like, try not to get hung up so much on, what you're going to name your product. I mean, names come and go. Just make sure that it's something that's memorable, that people are going to hone in on. And then, just continue to always focus on what it is that your customer is striving for and looking for, and just always pertain to that.
Great. Is there anybody online that you follow that kind of inspires you in terms of your content or the e-commerce? Is just people that you look up to that kind of help Sherpa your direction?
That's a great question. No.
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, no. I mean, it's like no, but I will say that I'm trying to become that for my industry.
Okay.
I will say that. I will say that I truly feel that what we are going to create in the next 10 years will become that. I think that in the next 10 years, this industry that we currently are owning is going to bring in a much younger demographic as time goes on.
Yep.
It's going to bring in a lot of young guys that are going to be hungry and looking for opportunity to build in this industry. I mean, you look at Traeger's, Traeger is probably the #1 pellet grill in the industry. You look at their demographic, their age demographic over the last 10 years, and it's dropped 15 years. It's gone from 50 to 35. That's
Wow.
insane. That's
It is
insane.
insane.
So the fact that over the next 10 years, that number is only going to get lower. And, I hate using this term, but you're going to see some millennial marketing coming that's going to really start to hone in on those younger demographics. And I truly feel that we're going to really capitalize on that. And I really feel that we're going to really bring something special to the table for everybody.
That's so cool. I can definitely see that you're into this.
Yeah, I mean, this is it, right? I mean, like you talked about it, a couple minutes ago. I mean, it's like when I got into this, I don't have plan Bs. I just have a plan A. That's it.
That's awesome. Hey man, I wish you all the best of luck. And I again, thank you so much for being on the show. I'd like to maybe, because you got so many big things happening, maybe in a year, 6 months, a year from now, we've you back on and kind of like, here's the before and the after, what Ryan's doing, and kind of like, maybe your HD TV show launched.
For sure.
Now, got Cardi B on your show. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe she'll be here. Yeah, maybe we'll have her. I mean, I will say that so far, I mean, last year we did, so in 2020, we did $2 million in overall sales.
Awesome.
And so far, we just got the numbers this morning for January. Our January already outperformed what our first 4 months of 2020 did. So our January of 21, I can't say without a laugh on my face, man. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely incredible what we've created. And it's just, there's so much just respect and just so humbled to just be experiencing this. I mean, I've come from, just being a sales rep for an e-commerce business to now owning my own. I mean, I can't say it enough. I'm just so incredibly blessed and thankful for my team and just everybody that has just continued to push bbqgrills.com to the next level. And, I'm so excited for what we have coming this year. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
That's awesome, man. I can see the excitement, and congrats to you and your team. Wish you all the best of luck.
Appreciate it.
Hope you just keep putting out the content and helping other entrepreneurs. We've had a rough year in America for some industries. So guys like you getting out there and sharing your passion, your enthusiasm, your strategies, it really helps.
I love it.
Okay, man. So, hey, this has been another edition of Growth Driven, and you need to check out bbqgrills.com because Ryan has got his game together. Plus, now I want to just go grill a steak.
For sure.
Thanks again, Ryan. Thanks for being on Growth Driven, and we'll talk to all of you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.